It makes it seem like the storm is like psychotic or something, like it's like it got personality conflicts here.
It's got certainly a split personality. We can say that much. You've been talking about the storm surge going into the Raritan Bay. That's the southern part of Staten Island, northern hook there of New Jersey. That's where Middletown, New Jersey is. And that's where Mike Puccinelli is for us. And he's got emergency workers concerned about people who think they can stick this thing out. And we see the wind just pounding you, Mike. How's it going?
Yeah, it's pretty brutal out here right now. If you turn your face into the wind, it just feels like you're getting cut by thousands of small knives. Pretty brutal as far as the intensity of the winds right now. The waves, I'd say, are probably about 8 feet at this point. Normally, if you look behind me, you'd be able to see a beautiful shot of Staten Island right now. As you can see, absolutely nothing but whitecaps coming in from as far as the eyes can see. As Sandy just roils the waters, you got some sea foam blowing by as well. Earlier, we did talk with an emergency management official, and he talked a little bit about what they expected. Here's what he had to say.
As you can see, it's not getting any better, and tonight's supposed to be even worse. Tonight and tomorrow's high tides.
How worried are you?
Worried isn't really the word because we're prepared for this. Concerned is because there's a lot of people that haven't gotten out that probably should have gotten out, and if we're not going to be able to get to them later. And certainly, they're leaving themselves at risk by not leaving. If we have to come rescue them, now we're putting ourselves at risk also. The fire, the EMS, the police department who has to come get them. That's not something we want to do. We want to try and save lives, not try and rescue people out of this.
And just moments ago, we actually saw 3 guys who were out here doing exactly what they've been told not to do. One of them, believe it or not, was actually Skyping with his girlfriend in Poland so she could experience this storm in all of its dramatic glory as I get pelted with a lot of sea foam. Behind me, I saw large pieces of debris, extremely large pieces of wood, what looked like trees being blown about. This beach normally is some 200 yards wide. At this point, the beach all but gone as we get nailed by more and more of this sea foam. I want to turn your attention to this berm right behind me. They've actually been fortifying the dune here. This was not here, but they had large trucks coming in to try and put this mound of sand here to protect the town that lies on the other side. Now, just down the road a piece in Fort Monmouth, that area, the berms are not as strong. In that area, we are already seeing some flooding. There are at least half a dozen streets when we were coming in several hours ago that were already impassable. And of course, tide isn't expected to hit till around 8:30 this evening, the high tide, so it's only going to get worse from here. Back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. Things there obviously picking up with the weather, the wind, you could see some of the rain falling there, and you saw that local officials there did what they could to protect the property in and around the ocean area. But when you think about the swells that are going to happen there, and the surge, they're talking 10 feet, 11 feet surges, and you just have to wonder, how is that all that going to be protected?
I don't see it.
I don't know if there's anything that can keep that water from coming ashore. All right, let's check now. There's been trouble at the Atlantis Marina and Yacht Club in Staten Island. Apparently they were unable to get all of the boats out of the water.
And this is on the other side of the Raritan Bay, just to the north of where you saw Mike there just a second ago. CBS 2's Jamie Yukis live at the marina in Bay Terrace with more on that, and we feel it whipping from here too, Jamie.
Okay. The wind has really picked up, as you can tell in the last couple of minutes. I want to go ahead and show you what's going on right now. Very protected bay. We've also seen a number of boats in the marina knocking against each other, moving up. We talked to a woman who also owns a shop within the marina. She told us this morning she already had 4 inches of water in her shop. She was very concerned. The water now coming up here in the bay. It is never like this, I'm told. It's supposed to be very, very dry in this area. It's usually sand. You can walk out in this area. Not the case, obviously, today. They're very, very concerned when they come out here and see this, since tide isn't even high right now. That tide expected to be high here around 9 o'clock tonight. But as you can see over to my right, there's a number of people kind of just standing around taking all this in. They were asked to evacuate in this area. As I said, they are without power, but they're standing around kind of watching to see what happens. Another scary moment happened for my photojournalist and I. We went, we were checking.
Right when we were getting to the good part of the story.
Right? Jamie doing a nice job there fighting Mother Nature, hung onto her hat and just fighting all the elements as we speak right now. But it is tough there.
And we'll get the rest of that story from her, hopefully during our next live shot with Jamie. But Jamie reporting from Staten Island, and you can see the conditions there as well, worsening as they are all along the tri-state area. I'd like to get to a Atlantic City now. Christine Sloan has been monitoring the situation there. Let's check in with her.
The conditions out here are slowly deteriorating. It's drenching rain. The wind up every so often, and if you walk around the boardwalk and you get on the side streets, many of them are flooded, and that's where it's really windy hour, and there is debris everywhere. As you walk around, boards from the boardwalk. So
coastal flooding situation will go on through the course of the evening, and we keep saying we don't want to make a big deal about the tides, but the high tide is about 10 p.m. eastern parts of the Sound, ranging to about midnight in the western part of the Sound, and from there the situation will become less bad as we go forward past that.
Thank you, Brad.
And of course, we're keeping an eye on it all.
All right, Edward Habrick, the Stonington First Selectman, is on with us. And Mr. Habrick, if you could hear Bradfield, you heard him say devastating flooding. Is that your major concern at this point?
Yes, we have a very, very difficult flooding that's going on here. Our biggest concern right now is the wind, which is really picked up in an enormous fashion. We have now a number of gusts that are occurring up in the 70s, and it's become very dangerous for our emergency personnel to be out right now. So we're trying to have them take cover while we try to ride this out.
Mr. Habrick, are you getting any reports of any damage?
I'm sorry?
Are you getting any damage reports in Stonington right now?
We do. We have numerous amounts of poles down right now. With we actually had one pole that was blocking our fire department to be able to get trucks out. We have a number of trees down. Several of them have gone into houses that we're dealing with right now. Road closures are numerous across the town, and I've stressed through social media, through traditional media, please stay off the roads and stay in your homes, because it is a treacherous situation right now outside.
As Mayor Finizio in New London said about an hour ago, he's telling his emergency people, you only go out in the most dire of emergencies. Is that what you're telling your people as well?
Yes, I am. I have my highway personnel, my police, and also fire, that basically, unless it's a structure issue or a dire situation, I do not want to put them in harm's way. We need to look out for safety. We have tried over the last 2 days to tell people to please evacuate. This is a very, very dangerous storm. So we're hoping that people heeded our warning. Right now we have about 6,000 customers that are out at CLMP. We have almost 100 people in our shelter, and trying to keep people safe through this.
Does it seem, First Selectman, that your shelter is steady as of right now, or do you still have people going to the shelter?
Yeah, we do have some people that are coming into the shelter because of situations that have happened in their homes. They've either had trees fall into it or power lines or poles. So we are receiving people still sporadically, but it's so difficult now on the roads that it's very, very dangerous for people. So some of them we're hoping after the winds die down, as Brad said, that we'll be able to try to get to some.
All right, Edward Haberick, the Stonington 1st Selectman, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you.
We'll check back with you as the storm moves along. We want to move along now to Kevin Nathan. He's at the Critical Information Desk. Kev.
Jerry, Keisha, quick update right now. There are about 84,300 Connecticut Light and Power customers in the dark. That number has been changing almost by the minute. The outages are scattered throughout the state. United Illuminating has about 5,300 power outages. Remember, both power companies have made it very clear that until this storm passes and winds are below 40 miles per hour, the power crews will not be able to get out and make necessary repairs. Kevin Nathan, NBC Connecticut News. Jerry, Keisha, back over to you.
Kevin,
all right,
thank you.
Kev.
Let's get the very latest now on Sandy. Meteorologist Ryan Hanrahan standing by. Ryan, what can you tell us?
Hey, well, we are looking at the highest impact of the storm moving through right now, Keisha, and we're looking at that high impact lasting through midnight tonight. And we're looking at, we can go back to weather. Pro, sorry about that. Just gotta go on the fly here. Thank you, Rich. All right, so here's what we have. We have the worst impact of the storm through midnight tonight. So unfortunately, the winds will continue to get stronger inland. Along the shoreline, they're beginning to peak. We have wind gusts approaching 75 miles per hour in far southeastern Connecticut. As the Stonington 1st Selectman said, things are getting pretty bad there, and that will continue across Long Island Sound and the coastal communities. So the worst wind through about 9 o'clock, and then it slowly begins to diminish. But the worst coastal flooding will be around 9 and maybe even a little bit after that as the tide begins to rise. And we are looking at low tide moving through right now in southeastern Connecticut, and then that will continue west. So once low tide passes, the water will begin to rise even more. And we already have storm surge values that are between 6 and 7 feet in the central and western parts of the Sound, which is worse than what we had during Irene. So here's a look at the visible satellite picture. Hurricane Sandy about to make landfall here in Atlantic City. A beautiful structure for this storm. This is a hurricane, no doubt about it, making landfall. The worst of the wind here in the northern semicircle of the
Now on that crane collapse that happened on 57th Street between 6th and 7th. Obviously, whatever safety Precautions that construction crews took to make sure this crane was secure before the upcoming storm.